everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Quilt Company. My name is Chelsea and this is
Ella.
And Ella is going to be our helper in the sewing room today. We're going to be doing a project that is good for getting kids busy in the sewing room and experimenting with the sewing machine. To get started here, let's show them the project that we are working on. So right here we have the finished project. We're just going to open it up. And here we have a nice little pencil case. Also works great for, you can put paintbrushes in it, you can put pens, pencils, anything that makes it easy to roll up and bring on the go. So let's get started. Now what you're going to need for this project is you're going to need 3 fabrics that all work together. And we're going to cut them they're going to be 9 by 13. All 3 of them will be 9 by 13. So here I've already gone ahead and I've done that. And then, so this one will be the front of our bag. So I'm going to set that one aside for now. And then this one I've chosen for the background of the inside. And then this one is going to be for our pocket. You're going to take your pocket piece and you are going to fold it the long way and you're going to iron it flat. Then what you're going to do is you are going to take a ruler. I like to use a clear ruler. It makes it easier to do this step. And you are going to measure 1.5 inches from both of the ends. And then you can take a piece of chalk, or you could even take a light crayon or a light pencil. Whatever you would like to do. If you do use chalk, it does wash out. So you're going to measure 1.5 inches from the side and you're going to draw a line like I've done here. And then from those lines, you're going to measure 1 inch all the way across your fabric. Then after that, what you are going to do is we are going to pin it to our lining piece. I'm just going to throw in a couple pins here. And we are going to baste it along the edge. Baste is another word for, we're going to stitch a little pinning. It's a stitch that's going to act like a pin. It's going to hold everything in place. We're going to do it at 1/4 inch. So we're going to have Ella do this part. She's got her handy machine here. Now I'm just going to help her get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up. You can see on the edge of your foot, that's your 1/4. Okay? And then you just make sure that they start stitching and then back stitch, just a couple stitches. And then they're going to sew all the way around the pocket, leaving the top of the pocket open for later when we are going to sew those little slots. Now lift up your presser foot and then we can trim it. So now here Ella is just finishing up her seam for her basting stitch. We're going to trim all of our threads. We're going to try to keep our project nice and neat. So make sure you trim up your threads also from the beginning. And make sure you put them in the garbage can or in a little basket. And then as you can see, she doesn't have any more pins in her pocket. And she has basted all the way around. And she's back stitched at the start and the finish. Now what we are going to do is we are going to sew each of our slots for our little pockets. What I like to do is I like to throw a couple pins to try to help it from sliding around. We want to have nice straight lines when we're done, and this will help. If you have a walking foot at home, this would be a great time to use it. But for some beginners, that isn't an option, so we're just going to do the best we can. In this part, you can either let them put the pins in, or you can put them in for them. All right, so then what we're going to do is I've now placed a couple pins, and Ella is going to sew each of these lines, making sure that she is backstitching at the start and finish. And I always say for these ones to go right off the edge of your pocket. Since these are working seams, these are seams that are going to be pulled on when you put things in them. We want to make sure that they're super secure. So now you're going to follow this line and you're going to line it up with your needle, okay? So you see that little hole in your presser foot? That's where you're going to keep it going, okay? So start stitching and then make sure you backstitch. All right, now backstitch. And now go all the way down, following that line nice and straight. So keep that line stuck. You want to make sure we're keeping that line right on our needle. You're doing a very good job. All right, keep going. Keep going. Now backstitch. Yep, now go right off the edge. All right, now lift up your presser foot and we're going to trim up that seam. Good job. So now she has already finished one pocket. We're going to go ahead and clean up all of these top threads when we're all done. So now she's just going to go along and she's going to sew up all the rest. Good job. Lift your needle up. All right, now go along and trim up all of those. Good job. All right, now pick up all your threads. All right, so Ella has just finished up sewing up all of her little pockets for all of her pencils or pens or whatever she decides to put in it. Want to hold it up and show them what you did so far? Mm-hmm. So, Ella, would you say, was it easy or hard?
Easy.
Yeah? Just take your time and make sure you're following those lines. Just go slow. And parent or guardian, make sure that you're just monitoring it. Her thread did come out a couple times, so I was just there to be able to catch it and help her get back on track. So now what we are going to do is we are going to take a ribbon and we are going to cut it to be 18 inches. And then you are going to take your ribbon, you're going to fold it in half. And then at that fold, I'm going to put it on the left-hand side of our little case. And I'm lining that fold up with the edge. So I have the ribbons laying on the inside of our bag. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a pin. And I'm going to have Ella just do a little stitch here at the 1/4 mark, just like we did before, just to kind of act as a little pin for this guy. Now this is another working seam, so we want to make sure we're back stitching. We're placing it in the machine just at that 1/4 mark like we did before. Once I have it in and I have the foot down, I'm going to have Ella go ahead and take the pin out. Since the presser foot is acting as the pin now, it's holding it in place. And now I'm going to have Ella stitch back and forth over it. If you want to do it a couple times, you can. Go all the way over it. Good job. Now back stitch again. And then come forward one more time. Good job. Now lift up your presser foot and pull it out and trim it up. Make sure your needle is lifted. Good job. Good job. All right. Now what we are going to do is we are going to lay our front panel. So the side with the print is the right side. We're going to take the right side and we are going to lay it on top of our inside. I know this doesn't make sense, but it's like magic. We're going to flip it inside out when we're all done, and it's going to make all of our edges go away, and it's going to reveal a nice hidden little storage pocket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place pins around the pocket for Ella, and I'm going to put 2 on the top that will be her stopping place. So what I like to do to kind of act as a reminder is I'm going to put 2 pins right next to each other. So that way when she runs into them, she knows, oh yeah, I need to do something here. That's where I'm going to backstitch and I'm going to leave an opening. This is going to be the spot where we are later going to inside it out. All right, so we have it all pinned up. I'm going to place her machine back here, and I'm going to have her start at the last set of pins. That's where she's going to start. So that way when she goes all the way around, she ends up right where the other set of pins is. So now this time we're going to sew at a 1/2 inch. And if on your machine it doesn't have a marking, what you can do is you can grab a piece of washi tape or any other kind of contrast tape that you might have lying around your house. Measure from the needle over and mark where that 1/2 inch mark is. So what I'm going to have you do is you're going to line it up right there at that silver edge, okay? All right, now she's going to stitch all the way around, making sure she's putting her needle down at the corners and pivoting. All right, so now what we are going to do is we're going to reach into our pocket in that opening that we left, and we are going to pull out our fabric. But before we do that, we have all of these big corners that once we pull it out and we fold it, will make a lot of bumps and a lot of bulk. We want to make sure we trim that off. So what we're going to do is we are just going to trim the corner close to our stitches, but not touching them or through them. This will get rid of some extra bulk, making our pocket or our little storage container lay nice and flat. You throw those away from me, Ella? Thank you. All right, now comes the fun part. You want to reach in there and get all those corners out. You don't have to really reach in there, kind of push it through. So grab a corner and pull it out. The big reveal. So now once you have it right side out, we are going to take a blunt scissors or even a dull pencil, and we're going to stick it in there on each of the corners, and we're just going to kind of wiggle them out so they lay nice and flat. Let's see what we got around here. I think I might be a little too sharp. So we're going to grab a pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that in there. And I'm just going to kind of use that to gently push out my corners. You don't want to push too hard. You don't want to create a hole. Especially if you ended up cutting a little too close to your corners, it'll be a little bit scarier to push it out a little hard. All right, so I'm just doing it nice and gentle, pushing out those corners. Arla did a wonderful job sewing and pivoting at each of those corners. Now what we are going to do is, now I'm just finger pressing, kind of get everything where they belong. We're going to take this to the iron real quick, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do a stitch along the top of our bag to hold that opening shut. All right, Ella, let's move to the iron, okay? All right, so Ella has done a great job by pressing her pocket. Once we are all done, what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab a little spritz bottle and I'm going to spritz some water on these seams and just wipe them out with a cloth, and that'll get rid of all those chalk marks that we have on there. So now what we're going to do, as you can see, it's nice and ironed, so I have that opening ironed. And I'm going to have Ella just do an edge stitch, which is a stitch that is just along the edge to hold that opening shut. All right, Ella, so we're going to keep it on the inside. Start stitching and back stitch. No, so all the way down. So now we have a completed pencil storage pouch. And now, Ella, can you do the honors and roll it up? Just like we would when we're all done using it. All right, so once it's rolled up, we'll take our ribbon, wrap it around, we'll tie it in a beautiful bow. And then there we have it. Now we have something to do when we're stuck inside. All right, thank you for watching our video.